Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is the sixth video in the series. And in this one basically we are going to talk about tuple data type. So it is one of the sequential data type. Okay, so tuple, again, it's an ordered immutable collection of elements. Okay, and we can represent tuple using parentheses. Okay, and it can contain element of different data types. So you can see this example. Okay, so tuples are similar to list, but unlike list, tuples are immutable, meaning their elements cannot be modified once they are assigned. Okay, so this is one of the important characteristics of tuple. So let's see some of the key characteristics of tuple. So one, as I already mentioned, it is ordered, means tuples preserve the order of elements, meaning the position of each element in the tuple is fixed. Okay, so same feature we had in list as well, like we have the concept of index, so we can access the elements from the tuple using index. Okay, then another characteristic is, again, it is immutable. Okay, so you cannot modify, add, remove individual elements, but however you can create a new tuple with modified elements. Okay, then another one is it can contain heterogeneous elements. Okay, so you can put data that is of different data type, such as integer, a string, float, or even other tuples as well. Okay, and so yeah, these are the some of the important characteristics. So tuples are commonly used when you want to group related data together in a structure that should remain unchanged, or when you need an immutable collection of values. So they are often used in scenarios where you need to ensure the integrity of data, or when the order of element is significant. Okay, so let's jump to a REPL and try to see that in action. Okay, so let's see what are different ways we can create a tuple. So first one, as I already mentioned, we can use parentheses. So here you can see within the parentheses we can mention our element. So here I am creating tuple of integer data type, so where I have this integer value. So let's run this one. Okay, so it is creating a tuple. Next one we have is we can use the tuple constructor. Okay, so a tuple is one of the constructor available in Python, and here we can pass iterables. Suppose list is one of the iterable, then we can also pass a string as well. Okay, so these iterable and its string we can pass to this constructor, and it can create a tuple out of it. So let's run this one. So if you see here, it is creating tuple from list, and also it is creating tuple from this string. So it is creating it is taking each character from this string and putting that as an element in this tuple that you can see here. Okay, then again, next we have this particular syntax. If you see here, if you put your elements separated by comma, and if you assign to one of the variable, then it also creates a tuple. Okay, so it is with comma notation, but without parenthesis. Okay, so you can see here it is creating a tuple. Okay, so we call it as a tuple packing. So here is another example. So we are taking elements from a different variable. Okay, and then those variable we are just putting as comma separated, and we are creating a tuple. Okay, so let's run this one as well. So you can see here, now we have this generator expression also. So whatever you are seeing here, this is a generator expression. Okay, so what basically we are doing is we are iterating over this range, and then we are putting each value, taking from this range one by one into this tuple. Okay, so it will create a tuple for you. You can see here, so this range, it takes like a start and the end value, so starting from 1 till like end minus 1, like 4 minus 1, that is 3, because 4 is excluded. Okay, next one is if you want to create an empty tuple, then you can do something like this, just a parenthesis. Okay, and then we have another notation. Suppose if you have any iterable, and you want to create a tuple out of it, then you can use this syntax. So here what we are doing is basically we are unpacking the iterable. So we are putting this star in front of iterable, so it will unpack it. Okay, and it will put that inside a tuple. Okay, if you omit this comma, then it will give you an error. If you see here, it will give you an error. So that is why this comma is also important. Okay, so that it can create a tuple out of that. So you can see here. Okay, then last we have this length function that you guys is familiar about, to find the length of any iterable or any string. So it will give you the length of this tuple. So length should be 5 because we have 5 element in this tuple. Okay, so let's move forward, and before that let's comment these code. So again, this particular example you will see the immutable nature of tuple. So here basically I'm assigning something at 0 index, so it will not allow as tuple is immutable. Okay, so it will throw an error. Okay, now we have example of tuple indexing and slicing. So this you have also seen in list video as well. So these are just basic operations that we can do just to get some of the element or the slice of elements from a tuple. So here I have given the index as well for your understanding. So we'll run it quickly and we'll move forward because these you guys would have already been familiar about. Okay, so you can see this result and you can figure out like what is happening. So let me uncomment this one as well and let's run it. Okay, so basically we are just giving the index, and we are also specifying some start and index and also the step value as well, just to get the slice of tuple. Okay, so you can see and you can verify the result here. Okay, so you can just go through this piece of code. Let me comment this and let's move forward. So here in this example, again you can see we are doing some concatenation and repetition. So if you want to concatenate two tuple, you can do that with plus operator. Let's run this. Okay, so you can see that result here, and here this tuple I'm repeating 3 times, so we can use this star operator. Okay, so you can see that the elements within the tuple is being repeated 3 times. Okay, so moving on, uh, this one we have already seen, like the different ways we can combine a different elements by comma separated, and we can create a tuple out of it. So let's run this. Okay, so it is creating tuple for 1 2 3 and the name age and is a student. Okay, then let's see how we can unpack a tuple. Okay, so you have this example, you have this tuple, we have some elements here and we want to unpack it, means we want to unpack this tuple into different variables. So what we can do, we can use this notation. So we can put our variable name with comma, so it will unpack each elements to these variables. Correct. So since we have 3 elements and we have specified 3 variables here, so all those elements should go to those variables respectively. But we might have scenarios that we are not having enough variable name here. So that is the one of the example here. Okay, so here I have these many elements, 5 elements, but I have 3 variables here. Correct. So we can use this notation, star notation. So what will happen, like your first means this first element will go here, then in the last element 5 will go, and whatever you have in middle, those many elements will go here. Okay, so let's run this one and see. So if you see here, in first one I have 1, that is correct. Then in the last one 5 went to the last one, and then middle 3 went to this middle variable. Okay, so based on position it is putting the elements respectively. Okay, So this is also another way where we can discard the element as well. So this is the notation, so we can use underscore. So one will go to first, and then fourth will go to fourth, because we have two underscore. So 2 and 3 will be discarded, then again 5 will also be discarded because we have underscore. Okay, so now we have only 1 and fourth being moved to a variable. So if you see here, 1 and fourth. Okay, so let's move forward, and before that let me comment this code. So next one we have so tuple, we can pass this as a function argument, and we can also return tuple from a function. Okay, so let me uncomment this one, and before that let's see how we can define a function in Python. Okay, so we use a def keyword, then the function name. Okay, and then we put parenthesis and this colon, and within parenthesis we can pass how many number of parameter you are going to pass. Suppose I want to pass x and y, and then we can write our piece of code here. Okay, so whatever code logic you have, you can put under this definition, sorry, under this function, and then what you want to return. Suppose I want to return x plus y. Okay, so we can return that using return keyword. Okay, so this is the simplest way we can create a function. Okay, so now here I have this function created that will create the area and the perimeter of a rectangle. So here if you see, I'm passing this length and width. Okay, and I have created this a tuple parameter like tuple length and width in form of tuple, and that if you see here, I'm passing that as argument to this function. Okay, and if you look at here carefully, I am providing this star notation, means star and that variable. So what it will do, it will unpack this tuple. Because of this notation, star notation, it will unpack this tuple into these two variables respectively. Okay, so 5 will go to length and 8 will go to width. Okay, and if you look at the inner code, I am calculating the area, that is length into width, and then I am calculating the parameter. Okay, but if you look at this line, return type, I'm not returning just a single value, because here it will calculate a single value in this example, like x plus y will be computed and it will become a single value and it will return from here. But if you see here carefully, I have this comma as well. Okay, so it will return a tuple from here, not just a single value. Okay, so let's run this particular example. Okay, so if you see here, after returning yeah, so I'm returning tuple from here, but after returning also I am doing unpacking. Okay, I am unpacking these area and parameter into the respective variable, and that I'm outputting. So it's a very good example where we are passing tuple as an argument, returning the tuple, and then also unpacking it again. Okay, so you can see this example. So you can use this scenario in most of your programming. Okay, now let's move forward and comment this code. So next we have is so tuple are commonly used as a key in a dictionary. Okay, so dictionary I have not covered yet, but I'll just give you a brief what dictionary is. So this is the more simplest way we can create a dictionary. Okay, so so dictionary is nothing but a combination of key value pair. So we have key and values, and then again we have another key and values, and so on, and we wrap that in a curly braces. Okay, so this is a dictionary. Okay, and we access the value from a dictionary providing that key in the square bracket. So here if I want to get the value 1, I can wrap that inside, I can wrap that key inside this square bracket, and I can get that value. So let's run this one. Okay, so you can see that. So that is about dictionary. So a tuple can be used as a key in a dictionary because the key that we have in a dictionary is immutable. Okay, so we cannot put anything as a key that is mutable, like list is a mutable. So list we cannot put as a key in a dictionary. Okay, but tuple is immutable. Okay, because of that nature we can put tuple as a key in a dictionary. Okay, so if you say this example, I have key as a tuple for all these three key value pair. Okay, and we can get the values providing these a tuple. So if you see here, I am getting that output. Okay, so let's move forward, and meanwhile let me comment this code. So let's see some of the method in tuples. Okay, so tuples basically has two method only. Okay, because since tuple is immutable, so we cannot do many things in tuple. Okay, so tuple has only count and index method. So if you want to get the number of times element is repeating in tuple, then you can use this count, and index you can get the index of a particular element. So and it will give you only first occurrence of that, the index of the first occurrence of the element. Okay, so you can see here it is giving 2 here because it is at position 2, and here it is counting the 2 element in this tuple. Okay, that is 3 times. Okay, then we have some built-in function that we can use in along with tuple. So length we already know, it will count, sorry, it will give you the length of a tuple. Okay, then we have a sorted built-in function that we can use with iterable, since tuple is one of the iterable. Okay, so let's check this example. So here let's run this one. So it will sort this element uh, for this tuple. Okay, and it and sorted function returns you in form of a list. Okay, so in order to again convert it back to tuple, we can use a tuple constructor again. Okay, so here you can see the result in tuple now. Okay, earlier if you see here, so earlier it was a list, correct, but since, sorry, earlier it was a list, but I used this constructor for converting it into a tuple. Okay, then we can pass some more properties to reverse the uh, this sorted list. So we can parse this reverse property as a true if you want to reverse the result from this sorted function. So let's run this one. Okay, so first this sort will sort that in ascending order, but since we passed the reverse as a true, so it is reversing that. Okay, then let's move forward. So this you have already seen, so this is the way we can create a regular function in Python. Then let's discuss about lambda function. Just a small intro, but I'll cover lambda function in more detail later. Okay, so lambda function is nothing but a way, it's a way we can create an anonymous function with a very concise way. Okay, so this is the way we can create a lambda function. We use this lambda keyword, and what is the parameter? Okay, so here we are passing parameter like this, same we are passing here, and then we put this colon, and what is the return value from that lambda function. So this is a very concise way. So this is a way we create a lambda function. Why I'm showing you this, because we can use this syntax in shorted function. Okay, so here what we have is we have a tuple within a tuple. Okay, and suppose if you want to sort this tuple based on this second element, every second element. Okay, so you can pass that information in form of a lambda function. So it is not like you have to use lambda, you can declare a regular function as well, and you can pass here. Okay, but I'm just showing you a more concise way. Okay, so here what it means is I am passing this x means this whole element. Okay, and x of 1 means this a second element. This is x of 0, and second one is x of 1. Like I'm talking about all these elements. Okay, so what I'm instruction I'm giving to this sorted is sort this particular tuple based on this second element. Okay, means x of 1. So let's run this one. Okay, so if you see here, it is giving me, it is sorting this particular tuple based on a first element. Okay, and then if you want to sort based on x of 0, okay, then I can pass here 0. Okay, it will sort based on that 0th element, like this one, C A B. It will do sorting based on A, B and C. Okay, in first one it was doing sorting based on 1 to 3. Okay, then we have this reversed method in Python. Okay, so again it will give you a reverse of a tuple, and we are again, since it will give a list, we are again converting that into a tuple. Then we have this any function. Okay, these function we have already seen in our previous video. These are just built-in function. I'm just showing you along with a tuple. So here any will give you a true if any of the element is true. Since I have one true element, it is giving me true here. Okay, and all it will so if any of the element is false, it will give false, and it will give true in that case where all the elements are true. Okay, so then we have these other function. These are just uh, max, min and sum function. Max give you the maximum element from a list, min will give you the minimum element, and sum will give the summation. Okay, that you can see here. Okay, now let's move forward. Before that, let me comment these code. Now next we have how to check the membership in tuple. Okay, so in this tuple, if I want to see whether 3 or 6 is present, then I can do that with in operator. Okay, so since 3 is available in this tuple, it is giving true, and 6 is not available, it is giving false. So using in operator we can check the whether some element belongs to the tuple or not. Okay, and then here in a is an example just how to iterate over a tuple. We can use for loop here with in keyword. So this is the way we create a for loop in Python. Okay, so I'm passing that tuple here, and each element I'm receiving in this element variable, and I'm just printing that out. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so you can see that here, and then here I'm using enumerate function in Python. So enumerate will give you a key value pair things, and a key, it will give you a index of a element. Okay, so index, so it will attach an index for each element like 0, 1 and 2, and that index we can we are like doing this unpacking here in the individual variable index in this one and the element here, and then we are printing that out. Okay, then this is the example of a tuple comparison. So if you look at here, since these two tuple are not equal, it will give false for the first one, and we are comparing whether tuple 1 is less than tuple 2. So it will first compare the individual element. So 1 and 2 is equal, 2 and 2 is equal, and 3 is less than 4, that is also true. Okay, so that is why it is giving true, but other way around is not true, like 4 is greater than 3, because still here everything is equal, 1 and 2 is equal, but the third element, or we can say 0, 1 and 2, the second element, it is like 4 is greater than 3. Okay, but we are saying that tuple 1 is greater than true, that is not true, like 3 is not greater than 4. Okay, that is why it is giving false. Okay, so these are some of the like comparison things that we can do with tuple. Okay, now, so this is example of named tuple. So named tuples provides a way to assign name or label to each element of a tuple. Okay, so we have one library in Python, that is collections library. So we have this named function, named tuple functions there, function there. So here, if you see this particular piece of code, so what we are doing is, so this is the variable name, named function we are using here, and we are passing that named tuple name here, and what keys or what all labels we are going to give to this named tuples. Okay, and we can create an instance of that named tuple using this syntax. Okay, so we are using this named tuple that we have created here, and for name we are passing name like this, for age we are giving this age, and for city we are passing city like this. Okay, so this is a way we are creating a named tuple. Okay, and we can access these named tuple, or you can say the individual elements, using the dot notation. Okay, so let's run this one, so you can see the output here. Okay, so yeah, so it is so you can use this particular syntax where you can feel like you should give some like label, or you can give some name to your tuple. You can use this particular library. Okay, so yeah, that is what I wanted to cover in this video. I think you have got a good understanding about tuple. Okay, do practice these examples, and do share this video with your friends and colleagues, and also subscribe to my channel, and I will be creating some more new videos in the future. Okay, so thank you guys.